if you've been married for more than 10 years and someone off the street just came up to you and asked you, hey, what have you learned from all your years of being married? Like, what would you tell them? What would you talk about? You'll probably tell them about the trials and the errors that you've learned along the way as far as communicating with your spouse.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about that and much, much more here on this episode of Couples Pursuit Live.
Yeah.
Couples Pursuit.
Hello, this is Vincent
And Valerie
Woodard. And on this episode of Couples Pursuit Live,
we're going to talk about what I learned versus what I know.
Well, amen. Hey, look, if you're here for the first time, you think this is a great topic or you're just a repeat visitor, we appreciate you so much.
Yes, we do.
Share this with these two people that come to mind, because we're going to talk about something. Here's what you will learn. You're going to learn that we are a product of our upbringing, a product of our environment.
Yes.
You know, the things that we've learned as far as communicating with our spouse probably didn't come from a masterclass.
Nope.
It probably didn't come from a book. It probably came from our parents, our siblings, our past relationships,
Friends.
The
streets.
And we brought all those things here in this relationship and just trying to work it out.
Yeah.
And our spouse is like, wow, what's going on? And now, you know, you might be at a point where years later, you was like, okay, we're still trying to figure it out. But what I've learned along the way, what we've learned along the way, and what we know now, and I just think it will bless you and it will bless somebody else that's close to you if you share it with them. And it helps us spread the word also.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you. Yeah.
Yeah. Our goal here is to help others to reach a place of reconciliation and thriving in your love relationship. And sometimes what we learn growing up is not necessarily what works. You know, even if it's a good thing, we have to learn how to adjust with our spouse.
Yeah, because you know, a lot of times I tell this testimony a lot, that I was practicing on my wife when we got married.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And and the reason why I say that, and it keeps coming to mind, is because I didn't really have an example of a healthy relationship, a healthy married relationship. But yeah, I know I had the mentors, you had the pastor around you, but I didn't really grow up in the church per se. You know, I went to church to participate in the fun things, the basketball, the camping, all those good things. But as far as like going there to be a disciple of how to live life and learn, I didn't really have that. I didn't really grow up with that. So now, after I got married, so now I need to learn what's a good husband, how to communicate with my spouse, how to make all those things. And I'm like, okay, well, trial and error, bam, that it worked. Trial and error, bam, that it worked. Yeah. So, if that's you, like I said, I think we got some good information for you. Because one of the things that I know that I've learned in our relationship, baby, is in our relationship is to develop a real communication with the spouse, so we can weather these storms, we can overcome these obstacles.
Yes.
So what do you think about that?
I think that it has been our greatest accomplishment, because learning how to communicate with one another, it covers every area. So if we know how to do that in the good times, then it's easier to do it in the bad times.
Amen.
In the troubled times. And you realize that your partner, your spouse, is not your enemy. That they are your teammate. They are your partner. They are your other half. They are part of you. And so when conflict comes and trauma comes and loss and grief and all that happens, you can draw on the foundation, the strength that you've been building all this time, instead of grasping for, straws, so to speak. Because when you don't develop communication within your relationship, it's really a toss-up. It can become, I believe I said in another one of our talks, every situation can become a potential bomb.
Yes. And with that, overcoming, being able to have a relationship where we're close, you know.
Yeah.
We talked about our previous video, we talked about having 5 positive reactions for everyone that may come. Not saying they guarantee to come, but for everyone that come, you want to keep having positive interactions with your spouse.
Yes.
And one way to do that is having a connection with your spouse. Now, we talk a lot about communication.
Yeah.
And because so many couples, I've even read a study somewhere that it's the leading cause of divorce.
Lack of
communication, not being able to communicate. You know, it's that whatever a couple would list, it has something to do with lack of communication or ineffective communication.
Right.
And I believe that, first of all, yeah, we have to talk, we have to communicate, but first of all, we have to connect with each other. We have to learn how to develop that connection, that I want what's best for you. I desire what's best for you. You know, everything that I do and that I want for you, I would want for myself, and vice versa. Yeah,
that's true. And you know, it should be developed in the beginning, but you know, we come at this. This is an honor for us and a privilege to be able to share the way we do, but we come at it from a place of reality. Reality is that not everyone went through courtship. Not everyone understands what that means, the weight of it. Not everyone is walking with Christ as we are. And not everyone clearly understands how to communicate. People have had bumps and bruises and trauma and upset, and they have had wrong teaching and misunderstanding. They've been mishandled. And so as you go through life, in those types of situations and you encounter relationships, what oftentimes happens is we find someone who makes us feel good. You know? And somebody makes me smile, or I feel easy around them until you don't. You know, because life happens and situations come about, and when those difficult times come, we will draw back on what we learned or what we saw mom and dad do, or what we didn't see them do. And then we will act on that. Sometimes we'll act the complete opposite, but oftentimes we do what we saw. We become what we saw.
That's true. And then of course you repeat it and you become the best version of that. You know, so you saw this organization. If you saw your mother and father fighting, or just your mother and her other, your father and his other, or whatever, and they're not really getting along, you figure that's how they do. They make up, they argue, that's what people do. And they make up, and then we eat dinner, and then we don't talk about it.
Happened.
We don't. So now, that's how we do. I'm gonna do it just like they did, and I've seen it for so long. I'm good at it. So, but why we gotta talk about it, baby? Why we gotta?
Because it's not okay. And then here's the other thing. Something that I even share with our oldest daughter. I tried to do the things that I thought maybe I was lacking. I tried to do those things differently, and I realized that different is not always better.
That's true.
There are some things that we will do based on how we felt about a thing, or based on what we saw, and we'll change that, we'll tweak it. We don't necessarily find out what is right and good and healthy for us, but we try to change it so that it's better than what we've experienced. But what we really need to find out is what is the correct way to handle ourselves.
Exactly.
And that means being uncomfortable sometimes. Get uncomfortable so you can get corrected. Let's be uncomfortable for that period of time, that moment of time, and we can learn how to address it and then work on overcoming it. So we want to keep dealing with that issue, to keep raising his head up over and over and over and over, just like it was in our relationship. We try. I want to get past it. She wants to deal with it. I want to get past it. She wants to deal with it. So we're fighting, and it keeps coming up. I might have moved past it, but it's still there. Still. I'm looking at my wife, but I'm looking behind her. I'm saying that the issue, whatever, is still there. So
Yeah, well, what we've learned, what we know now is that connection with your spouse is so important. And it leads to better communication. It leads to effective communication. So many great things comes out of the fact that I desire, not that I should, hope you're okay. I don't want you to die. You know what I'm saying? It's like I desire for your desires.
To be fulfilled. Yeah. And and it shows. So these things you don't get to see, like a husband or a wife might say, well, I love you. I show you, I tell you, but actions speak louder than words. Love is both a verb and a noun. Yeah. And so it's not enough just to feel it or to say it, but to express it. That lets me know that. And when we're able to communicate effectively, then I can understand the issues that are going on with you. You can understand the issues that are going on with me. And then if something comes up, we don't have to wade through all of the unresolved emotion in order to keep going, because that's often what happens. When people have what do you call it, irreconcilable differences. It's like, we just can't get past it. And so I want to share one thing that I know now I didn't know before. Okay. And that is when we say what we learn, sometimes it's what we perceive based on what we saw. It's not necessarily what somebody told you. It may not necessarily be what someone did per se, but is what your understanding is of love and relationship based on what you saw across the board. That could have been in your house, on TV, whatever it is. What I learned, I thought when I got married that it would be blissful and that I wouldn't have to fight to communicate, that I wouldn't have to ask you to talk to me, to share your feelings. And I thought that, honestly, I thought that I would never get my feelings hurt. That I would, if I loved someone and they loved me, I wouldn't have to worry about that. That was always my goal. I want to find one person that I can spend my life with. We fall in love, we get married, we love each other, we have babies, et cetera, and everything's going to be cool. And no, what I learned is that that's what I thought. But now what I know is that I have to do the work. I have to be responsible for my own feelings and emotions and happiness. Even if you don't do something that even if you do something that causes me pain or frustration or confusion or whatever, I'm still responsible to take care of myself. I cannot depend on you to do that for me.
Yeah, we can do the work even if the other partner is not participating right now. Even if they're at a standstill, it seems like we can still work on ourselves in our marriage or our marriage. So number two, what I know and what I've learned is recognize how you communicate. We have a previous video where we talk about communication styles and the passive, aggressive, and assertive. And I'll make a link for that if you're watching the video. But with that, there is a way that we communicate that maybe we didn't understand so much, or we the passive kind. We kind of just let everything go. It's like, well, okay, I don't want to argue. I don't want to fight. I don't want no bad looks. I don't want you to be mad at me. It's just like the passive. Are you the passive aggressive style? You were like, you're making leftovers again. We have leftovers again. What, really? Are you the aggressive style?
Is that what you're mad about?
What about food? I like to eat, y'all. You can tell. Or the assertive kind. Look, we're coming home. And I know it's going to be late. I'm going to start the grill, or I'm going to start the oven, and maybe you can whip something up and we can make it and have dinner by 8 o'clock. That sounds good for you, What's the style that we communicate with? Recognize that in yourself.
And how those two interact. And then when you do that, just because we are a way doesn't mean that that's the way we should be. And it doesn't necessarily mean always that the way that you are is bad or negative. You've got to figure out what works for your family, for your relationship. That doesn't mean that you lose yourself in someone else. But it's not fair to me to say to my husband, well, my daddy cooked when I grew up, so
and this is
I don't cook.
That about the other person. I think what I've learned is that I did a lot of assumption. Like, they should know how I feel. They
wow.
A lot of that went on as opposed to the assertive style. What I know now is, hey babe,
let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. What do you think about this? How do you feel? One of my favorite interactions that taught me how much we have grown is, and there are many. It was when I used to come home with the groceries and I would blow the horn. He'd say, bump the horn. Bump the horn when you pull in the driveway, right? And I'm like, okay, so one day I think maybe I had to use the restroom. I wasn't feeling good or something. And so I blew the horn one time and I was like, it was a short blow and I wasn't sure if he heard me. So I did it again. And he came outside and he helped me. He didn't have an attitude. I didn't see anything on his face. But after we got the groceries in the house, he said, babe, how can I tell you? What's a good way to tell you that I don't want you to blow the horn when you come in the driveway? I said, just like that. Just like that. Because, and that might seem very elementary, very simple, but that is much better than, I heard you the first time. Because guess what? He doesn't know that I don't feel good or I really got to pee and I wasn't sure. I said pee. I really have to use the bathroom, urinate. Would you like me to say that? Okay. Okay. Whatever. So he doesn't know any of that. If he just assumes, okay, well, she just blowing the horn like I'm her slave. First of all, why would you assume that your wife thinks you're her slave?
No.
That is not what I mean. It is aggressive that I blew the horn twice. It's like, what is going on with her? And so for a while, we didn't do it. I said, we just won't do that anymore until he finally said, you know what, it's fine. Just go ahead and do that.
And just like you said, you might have, I don't really know what was going on the other side of the door in the car.
Right.
And with me, I was working on something. I was in.
Yeah, I didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah,
right.
And so now it's like somebody just come in the door, be like, look at me. You remember that?
Yes.
It's like, okay, alrighty, But what I know now is just like you said, we went back to, you know what, baby, just when you come in the driveway, just blow the horn. I'm listening for you.
Yes, and I would text him and say, babe, I'm on my way home sometimes, and let him know, because sometimes I go to couple stores, 3 or 4.
Yeah, she likes to find
grocery stores or Christmas shopping, whatever. And
look,
I need his help.
It's a good thing to have a wife that looks for bargains. I'm trying to tell y'all. Some people say women like to shop. Okay, yeah, I think my wife likes to shop, but it's not so much spending just shopping for shopping.
Not frivolously.
She likes to see how far can I make this dollar stretch. That is like a goal. She used to
How you like that?
Yeah, it's
yeah.
Baby, you see this dollar? It's out on the stretch.
It's about the pop. It's about the snap. Yeah, I used to coupon and do all those good things. But So that was one of my favorite examples of how we evolved, because it could, the simplest things can cause people to just have attitude and snap off, and it's like, why waste your time?
Yeah.
Why waste your time being ugly and being mad? Yeah,
so the first one that we talked about was developing a real connection with your spouse. All right, we talked about ways of doing that, and then what we learned is our behavior, our upbringing, the things that we went through, even past relationships, all had an effect on how we communicate with our spouse now. So
what if your experience doesn't involve connection? How do you know how to develop that? How do you develop the connection?
Well, first of all, we're connecting is more about the giving. It's not so much about what I get from this situation. It's not about, okay, well, I'm going to do this so they should know that I've done it, and they should give back to me, whatever. It's more about the serving part. And I say serving, people look at me, well, nah, I ain't serving him. He don't deserve it.
Serving is a beautiful word. Service is a beautiful word. It is. Serving is humble. It's giving. It's not selfish. And there's a difference between serving and being subservient and being subject to someone.
Yes.
There's a difference. If I serve you, I'm willingly giving and doing. And I don't know about you, when someone willingly and humbly does something for me, it turns my heart towards them. It then in turn makes me want to see, well, what can I do for you?
Yeah.
How can I make things better for you? And one thing that I'd like to add about connection is, I remember someone told me, well, when I grew up, that's just not how we did it. We didn't touch, we weren't touchy-feely, we weren't lovey-dovey. Okay, well, find something that you both have in common, or something that your spouse likes that you may not love, but you can do it. And vice versa, and spend that time together. And we talked with Dr. Bonnie. Gosh, it's been a while ago, but Dr. Bonnie shared with us some things called mini connections.
That's right. Yes.
And those mini connections, those are small things you can do, like some of the things she said is, you hug for 20 seconds, chest to chest. You kiss for 30 seconds a day. Yeah. Right? You tell one another what you did. Yeah, what I appreciate about you. What you did today to make me feel loved is. And just those little things will bring you connection.
Yeah, and it's constant. The little things. Not that we did it. We had an episode.
Over time.
We did it, one day last week. No, it's the many connections, like you said.
It becomes a part of who you are. So even if you didn't grow up with that, what I want to encourage you to do is find out what works for you.
Yes.
Find out what your spouse's love language is. Find out what their style of communication is and yours. And then begin to discuss that. And then you can kind of tweak things to, I didn't know you felt like that. And then you get to say, well, what makes you feel that way? You get up underneath that. And then you can reassure, you can restabilize them, and let them know, I'm sorry that happened to you, or I can understand how that may have made you feel. And I want you to know I would never want to do anything to make you feel disrespected or hurt. And when they know that they don't have to fear you, or that they don't have to let anything that happens to them cause them to go back to a former fear, something that bothered them, that releases them to be more vulnerable in your presence. And that will bring you closer.
That's right.
And we haven't even talked about intimacy, or physical intimacy. That's just the emotional, intellectual intimacy that we have. And then that leads us to a more pure, a more free, physical, intimate life. So.
Exactly. Yeah. That's so good. And I'm so glad that you said it. And even with the fact that, sometimes, like you think you're doing something affectionate and lovey-dovey or whatever, and your spouse might not really feel, hey, I don't really want my feet rubbed. Some people don't really want their feet touched. This is the thing.
What do they like?
Don't pat me. Don't spank me
smack my bottom
every time you see me. No, just it's the language. It's their love language. It's the way they interact, what makes them comfortable, and because it makes you feel good, and you think maybe it should make that other person, your spouse, feel good, but what if it doesn't? That's what we're talking about, the connection part.
What if they don't appreciate that?
Yeah, like in certain ways, certain styles. I'm not saying they might not never want you to touch them, but I'm saying this: you don't know what that trigger. You don't know. You don't know the ins and outs of why she feels that way, or he feels that way. So because of that, you ask them. So like the many
and don't take
like
it personally. Yeah. And babe, I don't know how many years ago this was. It was in the beginning of our relationship, and because I have a history of sexual molestation, I had a thing about just being touched. Sometimes I wanted to
without knowing, I guess.
Like this is just a surprise touch, or if I feel like I don't really want to be snuggly right now, or I don't want a pat on the behind. My husband he's a physical touch person. That is one of his love languages. And we had an argument. It was one Valentine's Day. Do you remember that?
I remember we had an argument.
Oh gosh, it was like it was right after Valentine's Day, and I couldn't get him to understand it's not about you. I'm not rejecting you. I'm saying I don't want to be touched right now.
Yeah, and I'm saying those things. Well, I'm not that person. I don't know. That wasn't me. I don't understand why you think that about me. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, okay, now what I've learned, that's what I knew back then. What I've learned now is, like my wife said, it wasn't about me. And I should desire to find out what makes her happy, what makes her a safe place, what's a security point, all those things. And once, of course, I understood that, I don't want her to feel uncomfortable, especially with me touching her.
Right. And just to clarify, you have never been an aggressive partner in that way. It's just whatever moment I was in at the time. And you felt rejection at the time, and I was like, this is not even about you. And at the time I was in Virginia, you're in North Carolina, and so you went home, and I don't know, are we broken up, whatever. I'm crying. My mom is like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I think we broke up. So pitiful. And we have come so far in that we are both very affectionate now, but I had to get beyond the place that was in me that was still bruised and surprised by that. I didn't like feeling like I don't like feeling like I'm an object, a piece of meat. I am more than my body, the sum of my body parts. I never want to be treated that way. Love me, admire me, all of that good stuff, but check me here first here and here. Right?
Yes.
And that's important to me. Not to say it's not important to other people. And some men feel that way as well. We actually have spoken to someone who feels the same way. Don't grope me. Don't, be so physical. And that's one example. But it could be something else. It could be anything. We have to be willing to hear our spouse out. Take the time during courtship to get to know them. What's going on with them? What are their triggers? What are their weaknesses? What is their past experience? What are their flaws? What are their hopes and desires? What frightens them? You need to know that, not so you can take the knife and turn it, but so that you can help in healing. And you operate in such a way that you are careful not to walk on eggshells, but you're careful not to bruise them because you know what the past has done to them.
And that was too. The second point was to recognize how you communicate. Understanding the words you say and how you say them. It goes a long way with knowing what the point that you want to get across to your spouse, and also what you want to understand from your spouse. You want her or him to be assertive or direct with their feelings, and not be afraid to talk about them, not be afraid to share, and not be afraid that if I trust you, if I give you, my vulnerability, and let you see this thing that I kind of been holding on to. Not a lot of people don't know about this issue, but if I let you in, I let you have, yes, I'm trusting you with it. Don't abuse that trust. Recognize how you communicate. What you've learned and what you know right now is that we have to be able to be trustworthy with our partner, with our spouse. It's a woman's. I said a man desires respect, and a woman, woman desires security. They love the love, but they want to know that I can count on you, bruh.
Yeah.
Like for any, not just financially, not just emotionally. I'm talking about everything with my kids, my dreams, my hopes, whatever. I can count on you.
You're not gonna run me down in the street. Yeah, my wife, such and such and such. Yeah, we need to know that security encompasses. It's like the fruit of the spirit. I'm telling you the truth. It has so many components to it.
Yeah.
Fruit of the spirit. It has 9 different components. It's one fruit, but 9 different things within that fruit of the spirit. Within that security, for me at least, it is love, confidence, trust, honesty, intimacy,
gentleness.
All those things, all of those things I need in that ball of security from my husband. I don't just need physical love. I need emotional love. I need intellectual love. I need him to care.
Intellectual love.
Yeah. I need you to think about how you love me. Yeah. I need you to, to understand who I am.
Yeah, that's true.
Not just be like, oh, well, this is my wife, and then I just become an appendage.
Yeah.
I become another part of him. No, I'm a living, breathing being who has my own emotions, thoughts, and feelings, and they need to be expressed and understood, and vice versa. Just because he's a man doesn't mean that I don't care about how he feels.
That's true.
That I don't care about his emotions.
Yeah.
That I don't care about his the things that are sensitive to him.
Yeah, they say that men don't express emotions, but we still have them.
They still have them whether they express them or not. And the one place they should be able to express them is with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and another one we might not get to today. You're talking about the 7 basic needs of your spouse. We talk about the certainty, uncertainty, or variety, and there's love, connection, growth, contribution, and connection.
Yeah.
No, I said that already.
You said love, connection, contribution, growth, variety. Variety not meaning in people.
No.
It just means you don't just do the same thing all the time. Certainty meaning they need to know that the bills are going to get paid.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean she doesn't pay any bills. It just means that whatever you're responsible for, whatever she's expecting you to do, she doesn't have to guess whether or not you're going to do that. She shouldn't have to guess whether you're going to go to work or not.
That's right. These are what I've learned, what I know now. Like, certainty is a basic human need.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just, okay, well, I have a job, then I don't have a job. A lot of relationships kind of, struggle because we have a set good foundation, good framework. I need to be able to count on you that you're going to do your best, try your best. If you can't make it here, you're going to already be thinking about the next thing that you can do. Not just because you give up because you're tired and you don't want to work anymore and your boss chew bubblegum too loud. So certainty is one, and it's that's the basic human need. But if you do one thing all the time, too long, a person would get bored.
Yeah, it becomes mundane.
And that's why I say also uncertainty or variety.
Yeah.
That's another human need. We like a little,
switch it up a little bit.
You gonna take me out? Wow, really? Oh,
we gonna go to a different restaurant?
Yeah, little uncertainty, little variety, and then this significance. That's the other one that I missed. We want to know that I am the fruit of your. I am the
apple of your eye.
Little gleam.
Yeah.
And there's no one else that can get that from you. There's no one else that you look at like that you talk to like that you share these things. Like, I'm significant. I am your spouse.
I feel that. I feel that space. I'm gonna tell you really quickly. There someone was flirting with me one time at a job I used to work at, and they asked me, said, "Are you married?" I said, "Yes." And they said, "Well," and it's like, let me cut you off right there. I'm so in love with my husband, honey, it would make you sick. And he just looked at me like, "Yep." There's nothing you can do. Nobody can compete with my husband. And he should feel like that. Yeah. Do you feel like that, baby?
Yes.
Your husband should feel like that.
Real,
your wife should feel like that.
Yeah, I'm a man, a woman. If I think somebody checking my wife out, I don't get like jealous of her. I do get lit up like, man, why you checking my wife out? But it's not. But yeah, I know my wife. I know she loves me.
Yeah.
I know she does. So that's another one.
His heart safely trusts me.
Yes.
Because he can. The Bible says that. That he should be able to feel that way. I think that's part of Proverbs 31. His heart safely trusts me. He doesn't have to worry about what I'm going to say or do.
That's right.
He is significant in my life. He is the man in my life. Ain't nobody else going to do for me the things that he can do for me. Now, I don't need you to, where were we? We were at a restaurant, and I had like a gift card, and I thought I had a certain amount on there, and there was a gentleman that's like, oh, I got you shorty or something like that. I was like, oh no, it's fine. I went back to the car and got my other card. No, I won't have you thinking that you need to pay my bill. And that's not like somebody, paying for your groceries in line. Women, we know when someone is like, trying to check you out, and you don't feed into it at all. I honor him. He has that. He holds that space. If I need something, he's gonna give it to me.
Yes. And so that's significance. The other one human need is connection. Just being able to connect with one another. We talked about that earlier. It's one of the things that what we've learned and what we know now, and just being able to have that connection with your spouse. I'm trying to tell you, if you don't really think you have that right now, I urge you to, to research a little bit, go back and look at this video, find out ways, because it's really about serving, it's about giving, it's about, of yourself. And sometimes the other partner, right now, maybe, I don't know what you're going through, if you're going through anything. But it's always great to just work on you when you find yourself in a situation where, I don't know if we're going to make it. Well, how about you? Are you going to make it? If you can make it, if you're strong, if you're doing the things that you can do.
Am I doing everything that I can, or am I just waiting or expecting them to adjust to the way that I am? That's not good.
Yeah. The fifth one is love. And I'm breaking this down. I know I said, this is all in the human needs, understanding your partner's human needs. In this case, we listed 7 of them. And it's once you understand their needs. Now, this is not just something that, okay, they might get next Tuesday. No. Their needs, things that they're right now, and that we need connection, we need love. Okay, yes, it's our job to love our wives, but from that, God never said that, well, wives love your husband. It's like it's automatic. Almost. It's like they would give back to you. They're just the heart. They are multipliers. They give more than what they're given at times, and expand it. So love. That's the 5th one. And then there's 2 more that helps us grow. That helps us grow in life to our passions, our dreams, and our purpose. And if you meet these human needs with your spouse, you will see a miraculous growth. You will see your marriage just flourish. I'm trying to tell you. And one is growth. We have a need for growth. We have a need to always constantly to learn, to know something that I didn't know. It's amazing how you can tell somebody something they didn't know, and their eyes just light up. You're like, wow, that's amazing. I told Kira one time, the little handle that's in the car, I saw a TikTok video where the handle in the car, it's a little latch behind the handle. If you put it in there, the handle stays down. And Kira was like, what?
The little things.
We want
life
to grow.
hacks.
Yeah.
We want to grow and we want to change, and we have to realize that just because we are away doesn't mean that that's the way we should be. I may have already said that, but it's worth repeating. And what am I saying? As long as we're living, we should be growing and changing and increasing in knowledge. And also, we want to grow from a 1-bedroom to a 2-bedroom. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that.
Maybe we need to get a different car. It might not have to be a brand new car, but maybe we need something different. Maybe we want to change the way that we, do something normally. Let's talk about that. Well, babe, I think I'd like to try something, different. Let's try it this way. Let's move the furniture around like this because it's, it's easier. The flow is easier.
Yeah.
Let's have dinner at 6 instead of 7.
We want to look forward to growth.
Right.
Dream about it. And the
Who
last,
do we want to be?
Yeah. The last one is contribution.
Yeah. Yeah.
We want to give. We want to give. We want to feel like what we're doing right now has an impact. Whatever it is, what we're doing. Even if we're washing dishes, it's going to impact. It's going to have the kitchen clean. So the next time when my spouse cooks, this is all we want to contribute to something. We want to make a difference. We want to know that our existence. It kind of leads to all the other things. It matters. So, wow, what I've learned and what I know now.
Yeah, even in doing what we're doing now, this is growth for us because it's not just enough for us to have learned how we could reconcile our marriage, but to know that it could be done. Okay, well, let's help somebody else grow. You know, there are people who contribute to charities. You know, they foster children, or you know, they sponsor programs, or you know, they run a drive or do something together as a couple that is significant, and it helps other people to grow. That also helps you to grow.
Yeah.
The more you give, the more you serve. You know, the Bible says the greatest among you is the servant.
That's right.
Is the one who gives. You know, and it's important for us to do all of those things. And I hope that you all have learned something wonderful here tonight. Point being, one of those things being, I may have learned to do things a certain way, but now that I know, I've learned, you know, as I've come along, now I know how to do things differently, or I know that maybe I should do.
Yes.
I can do things differently.
I like that.
And it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with me.
No.
It just means that I learned more.
Amen.
I have another option.
Amen. So if you listen to this on the replay, I urge you to check us out. We have a free masterclass that you can go and learn some tools and techniques. We have a masterclass on effective communication. I believe it really, really will bless you.
Yes.
And if you can go to couplespursuit.com/communication, and it'll take you straight there.
Yeah.
And also, we offer a free 30-minute consultation. If you feel like you're in a place where I understand, I see you saying, you're just saying, Val, I want to get better. I want to, you know, I know better now. I've learned better, and now I want to do better. So we offer that too. So go to our website at couplespursuit.com, and there you can find out how to reach.
Yes. Again, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Until the next time, we'll see you on Couples Pursuit Live.
Bye.